Ever feel like you're not getting the smartest answers from your AI? Like it could be better, more reliable, more brilliant? Well, today we're going to dive into one simple phrase that can totally change the game. You've probably been there, right? You ask your AI a question, something with a little bit of logic or some basic math, and it just fumbles it, gets it wrong. It feels lazy, like it didn't even really try. It's a super common, super frustrating problem, but the good news is there's a surprisingly simple way to fix it. Just take a look at this. On the left, we've got a standard prompt, and the AI gives the wrong answer. On the right, we just add 3 little words, and boom, it nails it. The correct answer is 5, by the way. This one example shows you everything. So what's going on here? How can such a tiny change make such a massive difference? To really get why this works, we need to peek under the hood a little bit and understand how these AIs actually think. And trust me, it's not what you'd expect, and it's the absolute key to unlocking their real power. Okay, so you can think of AIs as having 2 different thinking modes. Mode A is the default. It's fast, it's intuitive, and it's really just focused on predicting the next word. It's like trying to answer a math problem while you're sprinting a race. Great for poetry or creative writing, but awful for logic. Mode B is what we want. It's slow, analytical, and deliberate. It uses this kind of mental scratchpad to work through a problem before it even thinks about giving you an answer. Now, the technique that gets us into that powerful Mode B has a name. It's called chain of thought prompting. All this really means is that we're not just asking for the final answer anymore. We're telling the AI, hey, you have to show me your work. And by doing that, we force it to lay out its whole reasoning process, which is how it catches its own mistakes. So, how do we do it? How do we actually flip that switch from the fast, lazy mode to the slow, analytical one? You might think it takes some complex code or pages of instructions, but it's not like that at all. In fact, most of the time, it just comes down to one simple, almost magical phrase. And here it is. Think step by step. That's it. That's the whole thing. Just by adding this little command to your prompt, you're telling the AI to stop just guessing the next word and instead actually lay out its entire logical chain one piece at a time. It is the key that unlocks that powerful analytical brain. All right, so theory is great, but let's actually see this thing in action. We're going to put this technique to the test right now, starting with that same math problem and then moving on to something a whole lot trickier. Okay, let's circle back to our apple problem. But this time, we've added our magic phrase, think step by step. Now let's see what the AI does with that one simple instruction. And the difference is just night and day. Look at this. The AI literally shows its work, tracking the number of apples at every single stage. It starts with 3, subtracts 2 to get 1, adds 5 to get 6, and then finally subtracts 1 to land on the correct answer of 5. When you force it to follow this logical path, it's almost impossible for it to get lost. And hey, this isn't just for problems about fruit. This technique is an absolute powerhouse for any task that needs logic. You can use it for math problems, sure, but also for tricky logic puzzles, for planning a complex trip itinerary, for debugging code, or even for summarizing a really dense document. Anytime you need accuracy over just speed, this is your new go-to tool. Okay, so we know it works for basic arithmetic. But what about something that requires some real abstract reasoning? Let's throw a classic logic puzzle at the AI, one that even stumps people all the time. Okay, here's the riddle. Take a second to think about it yourself. Brothers and sisters I have none, but that man's father is my father's son. Who is in the painting? Now, if you just ask the AI for the answer, it might just take a wild guess. But if we ask it to think step by step, it deconstructs the logic perfectly. First, it figures out that brothers and sisters I have none means the speaker is an only child. And that's the key. My father's son can only be the speaker himself. So it substitutes that back into the sentence, which becomes, that man's father is me. From there, the conclusion is easy. The man in the painting is his son. It's just flawless logic. So, what you've just learned isn't just some little tip or a cool trick. It's a fundamental shift in how you should be interacting with AI. You're no longer just a user who asks questions. You are now an architect of its logic, guiding it to a much better, more reasoned answer. If you remember just one thing from this whole explainer, let it be this. To get a smarter answer, force the AI to show its work. Just by asking it to think step by step, you unlock a version of these tools that is way more powerful, analytical, and reliable than you thought.
Honestly, this is a genuine superpower for anyone who uses AI. So I'll just leave you with this one question. Now that you have this technique, What complex problem are you going to solve first? Thanks for tuning in.